welcome back to part two, part two, part two, part two of my story times. So my first video, I did my first kiss. This video here, I guess I will talk about my first time I did the do. I did the do. I did the do. I did do this story on my last channel, but I have a lot of newcomers. I'm trying to get everyone, on the same page. And so this video will be about my first time I ever had. And so, if many of you remember my story time of my psycho best friend in high school, which I'm surprised I did not put that story time on here, because that was some shit, if any of you guys remember. Or did I do it on this channel too? I don't know, I get confused about my Patreon and my YouTube sometimes, and then my first channel, I get confused on what I did what where. And so okay, so I had this best friend. So after I got kicked out of public school, I went to a Catholic school for 8th grade at first, and then I went to a Catholic high school. There, when I went to in 8th grade, when I went to a Catholic elementary school, I guess you would call it, or middle school actually, I had this friend there that we became best friends. A lot of people did not think we should be friends because I was in 8th grade, she was in 7th grade, and my 8th grade class didn't want me talking to her because their class hated our class or whatever bullshit that is. But see, I'd never been the person to follow what others say, tell me, or do. And so anyway, we became friends, and her father was a cop. Her father was a cop, and every summer he used to have these, like, I don't know if they were, like, if we were like sisters. We never told people we were just best friends. We would always say that we were sisters, and everybody used to love the fact that we had like a close relationship as sisters. And like, oh my god, it's like you guys are almost like best friends, but weren't sisters, but we never told anybody that. And it's funny because a lot of times these people that we would meet, they would call us wanting to speak to like the other one. And remember, we live in separate houses, so we always had to make sure we had our lives straight. So anyway, my point is, every summer we look forward to these conventions with our father. And so this one year, it was actually in Virginia that we went to. I'll never forget it. And I remember and we drove, and that car ride was long as fuck. It was long as fuck. Now, knowing I know now, it's like 8 hours, but like as a kid sitting in a car, it's like, oh, so we went, but even throughout the year, we never spoke about like actually, doing anything. We never had actually, when we spoke to one another, even in letters, it was never ever sexual, but everyone kind of knew we liked one another, or we just kind of worked. While everyone else was out doing God knows what, we always was like having fun in the game room. We just worked. We weren't really, there was no titles, there was none of that. We just enjoyed each other's company and enjoyed talking to one another throughout the year until we saw one another again. But for some reason, this trip here, it was like every time we went out, it was always like holding the hands, and he always had his arm around me. Anytime he went anywhere, whether it was just across the street, he always wanted me to come with him. So, and it was cool. My Angela had other friends that she would talk to, and I think she ended up falling for his cousin or something. I don't know, I don't remember. This shit was like, so I was this like 9th grade, so you're like what, 14? My god, this was 30 something years ago. Damn, has it been that long? I don't know. Anyway, there was always activities always planned for us children, while the adults did God knows what. We also had like the captain's this. There were certain nights that we had to dress up. We had like, it was a lot of fun. And so I remember it was one of the activities that we did, and it was a dance, and he just would not let up. Like, we had fun, but then we did like this slow dance, and he actually put his hand on my butt, and I didn't know what that meant. See, back then I was such a prude. I have to admit that. I was still like, I guess, a child in a way. Well, yeah, I was a child. I was fucking 14. I'm talking about in a way. But, I don't know, he put his hand on my butt, and I didn't really feel comfortable with that. I remember actually running off back to my room, and, he came to talk to me or whatever, and, apologized, and it was all good, but he actually sat down and told me that he liked me, and I guess for me, that was more, I guess I needed that in regards to just filling my butt and then disappearing for another year, while we all go about our lives until the following convention, So, but anyway, the night before we left, I remember Angela wasn't feeling well. So the last event that we had, although I wanted to go really badly, I refused to leave my friend in the room by herself. So she kept telling me to go. I was like, no, I'm sitting right here with you. And so after the event, she was out cold. I remember giving her, or her father, whatever, gave her some NyQuil, and she was out, snoring up the whole storm, and as soon as she actually fell asleep, it's when I heard like a knock at the door, and I opened the door and let him in. We both had our own beds, and so we were all packed up ready to go because we were actually leaving the next morning. We were leaving, and he was like, oh, she's sick. I'm like, yeah. So he actually got in my bed and we were actually watching TV. We were whispering because I didn't want our father to know that we had boys in the room, but they already said their goodnights. I had the door locked, but still. So he was whispering. I had the TV loud, so like no one can really hear a conversation, whatever. And still had no intention on sex. That wasn't even on my mind. I just thought we were gonna watch TV and that's that. So one thing led to another. It was like, and back then I slept in like a t-shirt, t-shirt and underwear. So when he got into bed, I still had on t-shirt and underwear, and we started making out. And then one thing led to another, and it was so funny because I didn't even know he put it in. I still thought like it was his fingers. It was so weird because I felt like but then I'm like, this is it. This is the big sex thing. And so like I said, I thought it was his fingers. I kid you not. I didn't know. And then when he started talking his shit, like, no, he was very cool about it. I have to say he was very nice about it. And, but all that talking shit, like, you like it. And I remember saying, no, I don't. No, I don't. And I remember my head going like this, no, I don't. No, I don't. And not that I wasn't comfortable, it's just that when you're a virgin, you first have sex, it's really painful. And I kid you not, I kept saying people want to do this shit over and over and over again. Like, why? And so, yeah, I did not even know we officially had sex until I saw the sheets. It was nothing spectacular. It did not last as long. And to this day now I'm wondering, I wonder if he was actually a virgin himself, because the whole thing was just messy as fuck. It was, is it in? Is that the hole? Is it not the hole? Like, he wasn't even sure if he was in the right area. It was just weird as fuck. I remember setting the alarm for 4 o'clock, so because we were gonna leave at 5:30, so he can sneak out and get back to his room before his parents found him, missing or whatever. And I remember letting him out, and the next morning, well, like later on, like an hour later, we got up, and as we were leaving, I made sure that no one can see the sheets or whatever. But I remember as I picked up my bag, there was a letter, and it was a letter from him, and he basically just said, don't think because we had sex that was it, blah blah blah. And I gotta admit, every year for the next 3 years, he actually wrote me, spoke to me. We always linked up when we went away, and we kept in contact. Very nice guy, but he was a little older than me. So then once he went off to college, I no longer went to the conventions anymore. And by then we were so much older into our own boyfriends that it was what it was. But it was definitely, I have to say, I can't say it was the worst experience of my life. I've had worse sexual experience, but it was like, he wasn't an asshole about it. It wasn't like, oh, let me take her virginity and never speak to her again. He definitely did all the contacting. He definitely kept in contact more than I did. But it was nice to have something to hold on to and to look forward to, during the summer. We used to do Christmas cards and stuff like that. So, but yeah. Now, so that was our first time, right? So the second time we did it, right, was the following year, and I honestly don't remember what state we were in. I want to say Washington. I want to say Washington, or it might have been Alabama. No, it was Alabama, because the location we were in, we were like, what the fuck? There was nothing to do. There was nothing within like walking distance. There was like no teen club, nothing. We were just like, so we were really stuck in the hotel room a lot the next summer. And there was something that I noticed the next summer we went, right? He always smelled like fish. It was like, I was just so turned off. Like you don't, I don't know what you do when you're younger, but it didn't bother me then. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's like he always smelled like fucking fish. It's like, if I could describe it, it was like this nigga was always on his period. That's what I want to say. It was gross. Yeah, it was gross. Anyway, but he was such a nice guy. He really is. He really was a nice guy, and very talented, very talented. I remember he was like, I wonder if he actually pursued that, because he was actually going into writing or drawing comics for like comic books. Very, very talented. I hope he actually continued, because I do know that he was going to an art school for college, and he also played baseball and stuff. But I can't figure out why he always smelled like fucking fish. What the fuck was that about? But obviously it didn't bother me then, but now. But we eventually lost contact, and that was that. And so he's probably married with children and living happily ever after. And look how my life turned out, right? But we gotta be grateful for the little things we have. So I am grateful that I am still alive, still fighting and kicking it with you guys. So now when we got back home after that, my having sex for the first time, there was this boy that I was chasing for a while. I wouldn't say chasing, but he knew that I liked him, but he was in a different school. But his brother, my sister, went to the same school, so they kind of knew one another. So yeah, once I came back, like 3-4 months later, me and the boy I liked ended up having sex a couple of times, and that's how your girl ended up pregnant. So maybe I will continue off with that story and how my mother busted me before I can bust myself. So on that note, I love you guys for watching.